tough day? Was that a good hard?
How do you define a tough day?
They're all tough, right?
Daggone right. You're in training camp, practice 17. Guys are grinding, working, sun's out. Really good team. Everybody playing hard. So I thought it was a great day, not a tough day.
Have you seen any good effects from not having two-a-days, Kerry? I mean,
it's a completely different schedule. It's the NFL schedule. And our kids, I think the routine is positive. They know what to expect every day. It's morning meetings, morning practice, rest time, meetings, walkthrough. I think our evening walkthroughs have been phenomenal. I think they're a difference maker for us. So I think we're actually getting more out of camp than we did when we had two-a-days.
I was going to say, I would think the second practice on two-a-days, sometimes there would be some lollygagging or something. Yeah.
Well, it's just tough. And physically, it's hard to recover the next day.
Right.
And you cut meeting time out and you lose some other things that we're not losing right now. So right now, I think it's a huge positive.
You guys rotated three corners last year. We talked to you a lot about that. We talked about it in the spring. Is that still the plan? You guys are going to rotate probably your top three or four?
You know, and then the nickel spot. So we've got some guys that are talented, some young guys that are still learning the culture. We've got some experienced guys that are playing at a really high level. So the plan would be, I truly believe this, and I know you guys always think I'm kidding, I think fast, fresh corners are the most effective way to go. And, you know, we played a game last year where a team ran 3 straight vertical goes with 3 fresh guys on one guy, and that's a tough way to go. So our plan is to play and have fresh corners on the field.
And Denzel,
who are your 3 right now? Who would be your 3 you throw out there?
Denzel, Damon Arnett, and Kendall Sheffield right now. Jeff Okudah's making a huge push, playing really well the last 3 days. Sean Wade's last 2 days have been his best 2 as a Buckeye. Marcus Williamson started off ahead of both of those guys, but he got a little bit of a ding, so he's missed 3 practices. Amir, because he came in June, is a little bit behind, and that's just the nature of things. More than anything, the young guys got to learn the culture of the unit and the culture of the program, and I think when they really get that and it becomes part of who they are, it'll be a really cool thing for them.
Damon Arnett especially, what has stood out about him? I mean, in the spring, we asked you about him. I know I did, and then Pat.
Damon's always had really good physical skills, and he's always been a little bit lacking from a maturity standpoint, and that's just grown man conversation that we've had over and over and over again. And he has got charisma, he has got juice. He will remind you of Bradley Roby when he's on the field with the swagger and the way he plays. I love that about him. Sometimes I got to, every day, I got to pull him back. But and he'll still make some of those mistakes that come from momentary lack of focus. But I'm telling you right now, he's a football player, and he's a Buckeye. You're gonna go get in a fight. You're gonna take Damon with you.
You mentioned that Jeffrey Okudah the last 3 or 4 days has finished.
Yeah.
What's been the difference? What do you? Is he
You mean the last 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, like
it's maturity. We had a unit meeting last night. We talked about each player, what individual thing they needed to do to get better, and his is focus. His focus every play. You know, he's still a young kid, and a training camp for a young kid, this is dramatic. And so it takes them a little bit of time and a little while to get the swing of things. He's finally starting to get it. Once he can focus every play on just that job, just that play, I think he's going to be a great player.
On special teams, can you go down maybe some of the top guys? Obviously, Paris, I'm sure, is going to be the kick returner, but punt returner, who are going to be some of the main guys at punt returner?
You know, we have a great group of fast athletes back there right now. KJ Hill, probably the most secure receiver of punts and kickoffs. Great hands. Demario McCall is an electric player. Kendall Sheffield is very fast with his hands on the ball. Eric Glover-Williams can make you miss in a portalet. And like you said, Paris Campbell, who can catch both kickoffs and punts. So we have a lot of guys. J.K. Dobbins is dynamic. So we have a lot of guys back there that are vying for the opportunity to do that. Number 1 thing will be ball security. Number 2 thing is going to be, can you put your foot in the ground and go get us some yards? Because we're going to be better on punt return this year.
And the kicking game, how's Sean doing as the kicker, and how's Drew doing as the punter?
Sean and Blake are competing at kicker, and I think that's only right. I think that's only fair. I think that's how you go into camp. And Sean has handled that very well. He's not perfect yet, but he's much better than he was last year with the injury. He's kicking through the ball well. Drew Chrisman is a phenomenal punter, and you're going to be excited to see what Drew does with the ball. We had a great punter. We have another great punter.
Did you use portalet because phone booths are no longer in vogue?
You know what? When was the last time anybody here? If I said phone booth to my players, they wouldn't know what the heck that was. So you all know what a portalet is. So yeah, I guess I did. Maybe because it's Eric too.
Does it change anything?
I'll get me in trouble.
That was good.
You're not punting rugby style, right?
I would not say that.
Since it could be a mix?
I would not say that. I would not
Is it
tell
a
you.
secret?
Yes.
Strategy, right,
How about
Coach?
that? Why would you give
Strategy,
that away?
right? I wouldn't if I was. We want
their side, Biddle.
No, we
They're
want to
trying get
know.
information.
You didn't let me finish. We want to know, but I understand. If I was a coach, I wouldn't.
Appreciate
I wouldn't
that.
tell me
why
either.
Would I want to tell them that. I'll
But
tell you
Drew's
anything.
Drew has worked on the rugby style, or the roll
Yes, he
punts.
has.
I mean, yeah.
Yes, he has.
Y'all talked about that before. Go ahead.
How much does it change the coverage?
The rugby kick?
Yeah, versus if which
It's
way
about
you're doing
it's
it.
about both protection and coverage. I mean, as you guys all know, punt coverage here is a premium, and we're going to have great guys running down the field. We want a 45-yard punt with a 4.5-second hang time, and we're going to get that. And so if we do that, our guys are going to force a lot of fair catches. Whether we do that kicking the ball straight on, kicking it to the left, rolling out and kicking it to the right, it's still the objective. So it changes things a little bit from a launch point, but it doesn't really change much. We're not a kick the ball and roll it kind of a rugby team. That's not who we are. We're going to kick the ball 45 yards and force 5-second hang time.
Did you see Paris Campbell kind of come on as a kick returner last year? Obviously,
No question.
he got a lot of
That
shots.
is a big, strong, fast dude who has good vision, and he came a long way. He's going to be a great one.
Why? You said you need to be better on punt return.
Yeah.
It feels like you guys there's so many dynamic athletes at this place.
Right.
Why maybe weren't you guys better out of last year?
Take that on the coaching. That's on me. We'll get better. We've made it a focus in the spring. We've made a focus in the summer. And so we've changed some of the things in the way we do them and how we do them, both from a technique standpoint and a scheme standpoint, and I think we'll be better as a result.
Is it difficult? We know when Jalen was here, Jalen could be dynamic back
Yes.
there. But also Jalen could scare you a little bit, right? And
Yeah.
every now and then it'd be like, oh, what?
I will tell you again, the number one objective of the punt block team is secure the kick.
Right.
The number two objective is to be penalty free. If we do those two things, one of the best offenses in the country is going to trot out there wherever they caught the ball and go play. So we're not going to be taking a lot of unnecessary risks, not with our offense. There's no reason to. So those are our two number one objectives. The third thing is do your job. You got a guy to block your guy. If you block your guy, our returner is going to have a chance. We won't block them all. Can't block all 11 because he's got the ball in his hands. But he'll have a chance to make something happen if we do that.
But I think a lot of us, we'd like to, it's exciting when you get a punt
It's really
returner
exciting.
back there who might pop one.
It's really exciting.
But that's not the number one priority.
What's really exciting is seeing Carmen, Ohio, and ring that victory bell after the game. So whatever it takes to make that happen is what we're going to do. And everybody, there's a plan to win, and the plan works. And involved in that is play great defense, play great special teams, score in the red zone, and that's the other one.
Jeff Okudah, how would you describe his game, Coach?
He's long, he's fast. He's not as physical a corner as I want him to be yet, but he will be. He will be. He's learning that. The style we play is different, and he's learning that, and he wants to learn it. And that's one of the things I love about him. He'll be really good.
And Sean Wade, what do you still need to see out of him for him to see the field for the Buckeyes this year?
Sean Wade's just about strain. So for him right now, he's got the skill set. He's got to learn how to strain at the end of a play, strain to get the ball, strain to finish, and he will. That's part of our culture, and he knows that. If you asked him, he'd tell you. Every kid in the room knows what exactly it is they have to work on to improve their game, and that's what he does.
You mentioned Blake. If you're going with the competition, are you going to split them up at all? One do kickoffs, one
The
do...
guy who's putting it through the pipes and be the kicker.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you see now?
That's
Blake?
real. Blake's going to be a great kicker here too. He's got a very strong leg, so he can kick a long, long field goal. Right now in the accuracy battle, he's just a shade behind Sean.
Could you use both of them? Like there's been times where you guys have had a place kicker and then the guy that handles
you could.
kickoffs.
You could. It just depends. Typically, it'll be a different guy kicking off. Typically here.
Kendall Sheffield rides around on that little moped. You get nervous seeing one of your guys out there?
I'm not big on it.
No.
I'm not big on them getting from here to their dorm. I mean, anything can happen, right? Somebody almost hit me last night going home. So it's the world. But I think he's safe. I don't think he's a nut job. Right? So.
Denzel Ward, I know he's a returning starter. He split time, with Marshawn Lattimore and Gary on Conley. As you reflect on that, I mean, those guys were first-round picks. It says a lot about Denzel. If you could just speak more about that, and how has he improved since then? I
think he's gotten a lot better because he understands his game. The one thing that I've learned as a corner coach at Ohio State is learn from your players. Every player's different. I'll tell you a great story. All the guys walked away, you're going to get a nugget. So Eli Apple texted me.
You guys need to walk
Eli
away.
Apple texted me Thursday or Friday night after the first practice. And he's texting me about technique stuff. He had watched our guys practice. He had watched the film. He was on the eve of the Giants camp, and he'd watched our guys film, and he's texting me about technique. So I came in the next day. I thought, man, this is great stuff. I can't wait to share it with him. So I get him in there. I say, hey, listen, guys, I got to tell you something. Eli just texted me last night about you guys and this and this and this. And they said, oh, yeah, Coach, he texted us too. I said, what do you mean he texted you too? Oh, yeah, we're in a group chat. They're in a group chat. Eli, Gary-on, Marshawn, and Bradley are all in a group chat with my current players, and they're all watching and coaching each other throughout camp. They don't let me in on it, which is not, they talk about me, I assume, when I'm not in the chat. But what a great thing for 4 NFL guys to take that much interest in what's going on in their unit. They have that pride, and they want those guys to excel. And for me, Denzel is learning still from them. And what I've learned is learn from your players. I talked to Bradley, I talked to Eli, I talked to the guys now. Denzel's a different corner than Garyon. There's similarities or differences. He's definitely different than Marshawn, right? So Damon Arnett's closer to Marshawn. You got to evaluate all those things. Kendall Sheffield's kind of a combination of the two. So as you go through the process, you're finding out what works for them and how to make them maximize their skills.
You said Damon reminds you of Bradley. Have you told that to Damon? Have you told that to Bradley?
Yeah, they both know that I hate it, right? So they both know. I mean, with that swagger, nonsense, trash talk stuff drives me nuts, but they still do it. So I just have learned I've got to adopt it. Damon actually is one of my wife's favorite players, but she'll call him and say, hey, don't let him get to you, which I want to get to him. But anyway, yeah, I talk with both of them about it, and they enjoy the fact that they have that in common.
So you have your wife undermining you, you have former players undermining you.
It's terrible. It's hard to be the coach at Ohio State. It's very hard. Very hard.
How did Bradley make that work for him to keep that part of himself, right? But then also do what he needed to do to be a great player here and fit within the team culture, and what could Damon learn from that?
Yeah, well, that's part of Damon's process. Almost every day, he and I have to have a conversation about something that's not really related to the technique of the game, and he knows that. And some of that I love, and some of that I don't. And I don't want him to not be himself, because this is a position that has to be played with great confidence, right? You're out there on an island, and you got to cover that guy, and you are all alone. So you better believe in yourself. And I absolutely want all of my guys to do that. I just don't need them to tell everybody about it all the time.
It's interesting because both those guys were under-recruited, highly under-recruited in the process. I think Brad Roby, low 3-star, Damon Arnett, low 3-star. I know you don't care about stars.
Nope.
Is maybe part of that. Hey, we have a chip on our shoulder. Like no one really, we were under-recruited, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't think it's that. I just think it's who they are. You know, I think Damon would be that way if he was going to work at IBM. He'd walk in and tell them, well, hey, I'm the best computer programmer in the room. And everybody would be okay with that, you know, for a while. And then they tell him to shut up and they go on about their business, which is what we do. And, you know, but he's an engaging personality. He makes the room fun. He really does.
We know that Denzel Ward is fast.
Yes.
But can you put it in any more context of your life as a football coach, what you've seen over the years, here, opponents, that kind of thing, of like, because when you look at his raw numbers that you guys have on the board up there, I mean, it seems like he's got a chance to be like the fastest guy at the NFL Combine when that moment comes for him. We know he's fast here, but how fast is he in football?
Really fast. I mean, he's ridiculously fast.
Ridiculous.
Garyon was the fastest guy of the 4 first-rounders on the field play, but he didn't run the fastest 40 time at the Combine. So I don't really put a lot of stock. I don't know how all that works. I know this, Garyon, and the best evidence is when you're the 5 on kickoff. You find out who that guy is, and they close to the ball, and you see some electric things. So Garyon was, Denzel was, and that's kind of a progression of guys at that position. So that's one thing. But Denzel is, he's incredibly fast. He might be the fastest one of all of them. I don't know how to measure that.
Last question.
You are confident in your group. You're always confident in your group. You
guys never believe me.
And that's why I'm going to give you another chance for me to not believe you.
You didn't believe me.
I remember it. I know you remember it too, and that's why I want to ask you again.
I find it insulting. Not to me personally, but to the unit. I have people that ask me all the time, well, how are you going to replace those guys?
How are you? You lost 2 first-round corners.
Yeah.
How can you be as good there?
We took 2 first-round corners, and they played 2/3 of the plays. Because the guy on the bench came in and took 1/3 of the plays, right? So how good's the guy that came in off the bench?
Good.
Just as good, right? That's what we do. That's the plan. You would never take first-rounders off the bench, off the field, if a guy coming in wasn't as good, right? So to me, that's what we do. And they believe they're going to play. And so their level of urgency about everything they do is raised because they know they're not coming to sit the bench. They're coming to play. When I recruit them and tell them they're going to play, that's the truth. They have to come ready to play. And I believe that kid that runs out there at full speed, competent and confident in his ability, is going to be better than a guy who's had to play 65 or 70 plays. The play documentation is clear. We went from 1,000 plays for 2 corners to guys playing 550, 480, 575. Much better number. And as a result, those guys had great seasons, helped them be first rounders, and I believe that continuum is going to continue.
And we know